a team that knows how to win. They've proven that, obviously, last year going undefeated in conference play. A lot of continuity with their program with Coach Springman, who I've got a lot of personal respect for, and a guy on their staff who I've been friends with a long time. Sam Patterson's been an assistant with them, and you can tell they've got that winning DNA. They had a great win against Tulsa, took Kansas State into overtime. Their offense is really clicking. They've got just a really good spacing plan. They put you in a lot of tough spots, and our defense is going to have to be tremendous against them. They don't turn the ball over, and they've got guys that can make individual one-on-one plays. So really a challenge for us defensively. And then offensively, we've got to continue to take care of the basketball and get great shots. And it's going to be a change now that we don't have Devin. Devin Cambridge is such a big part of our team, so we'll have some adjustment time there. But I know our guys are resilient and are looking forward to the challenge.
Coach, with Devin out, do you have any idea who you want to come into that fifth spot, and how are you guys looking to replace him going forward?
Yeah, and I know everybody knows this. You don't replace a Devin Cambridge, and this is where he's been pivotal to our team. If you come to our practices, you'll see he's just as involved as he was. I mean, like he's been on a chair rolling around the court, talking and challenging our guys. He's been a great leader for us, so that'll continue to be the same. But we'll continue to play the guys that we've been playing, and then add the guys that got in some minutes at forward spots so far. I know that we'll continue to see Rob and obviously Kai and EY, those three guys, trying to figure out just the right combination and keep giving them opportunities. And then obviously the continued involvement of Kerwin, and he obviously has played significantly better off the bench, and so is Chance. And then Rob's obviously, the forward that's been playing most recently. But yeah, no, I think this team is going to keep growing. That's what we do, and we'll keep getting better.
You talked about Oral Roberts' spacing. They have 5 guys in double figures. They've also been to A&M and played a really close game against them. I mean, just what have you seen from them that makes them really dangerous?
Yeah, they've got great shooting and ball handling from the point of attack. And any time that you can leverage defenses and get them on their heels, it really is – it's just how do you guard the middle ball screen? McBride causes a lot of problems in the middle of the floor. He can get fouled. He can make twos. He can make threes. He's great at distributing the basketball, and they've got a good plan around him and a good attack around him. But I think that's the key to the start.
I know that starters initially don't matter, but who will be? Have you decided who will be in Dev's place?
Yeah, we haven't decided that, and we're going to kind of take this all the way up closer to game time and make sure that we know exactly what direction we want to go. I think we got a lot of great guys that can do it, guys that have played well. So we haven't made that decision yet. We actually changed it a couple times in practice just to get a good look, and we'll have another walkthrough and give it a little bit more time.
And with Lindsay, a guy that looked like you guys wanted a red shirt, how has he responded in these practices, knowing he potentially could be a key cog off the bench for you guys?
Yeah, well, his last month, honestly, has continued to improve. And really the area, if you watched our games closely, you could see our lineups with Devin on and off the floor offensively have been somewhat comparable. But where we've lacked his presence has been on the defensive end. His switchability is really what Devin Cambridge changed the game for us. And every time we got in a scenario where we needed to really amp up what we were doing defensively, we just put him in at a forward spot and switched. And that's where I think with this next group of guys, we're trying to figure out who we want to play, like who gives us the most solid defensive game plan. So that way, when you go out there, not only is it just like what you do physically, but mentally, how do you prepare and how do you know coverages and defenses and changes? And so really that's the point of emphasis, as it has been with Kai, just how do we keep getting better defensively?
What are some strengths of Oral Roberts y'all need to attack quick?
the thing they don't do is they don't turn it over, and they get great shots. And they shoot a great percentage from three. I think it's how do you keep them out of the paint from, one, getting fouled, and then two, how do you contest shots without fouling them? And you got to be physical. Their experience, like Thompson, I've coached against him. We actually used to scrimmage Oral Roberts previously, and so I've seen Thompson since he was a freshman. He's just a tough competitor. Like, he can score inside, he can score outside, and so I think how do you defend different positions? Like when Weaver's playing a forward spot and they're picking and popping with him, I mean, they cause a lot of problems. So just how do you guard them in space, and how do you continue to, as they change who their personnel is, how do you adapt and make sure that you contest all threes? And because that's when they're really dangerous, is when they start making threes in space, and then that opens up drive lanes for them to get to the rim.
And previously you had mentioned that y'all need to improve your communication on the court. How do y'all feel so far that y'all have improved that communication going forward?
Yeah, I thought the Omaha game was one of our most complete games, and you saw there wasn't a lot of scouting mistakes. There wasn't a lot of times where we had two guys on the ball and somebody was wide open. I mean, for the most part, over the course of the game, there really was an attention to the detail of it. And playing hard's one thing, but communicating and playing hard and getting it right is another. And I think we're getting the playing hard component down. Now it's like, how do you continue to, at full speed, make changes quickly by the way you communicate? And that's probably the biggest area of improvement that we still need to continue to make.
How crucial are these next 4 or 5 games before conference play? I mean, injuries affect everybody, I get it, but the way you're speaking about Devin, obviously it was a very important part of everything. The next 4 games and the rotations you guys do, how much do you guys need to figure out during that time before Big 12?
Yeah, I mean, these times are always difficult. And my heart, one, goes out just to Devin because, you just put yourself in his shoes, and it being what, he thought was his senior year. How do you respond in this situation? He's been so positive, and that's one part that I'm so thankful for him, because not there was any doubt that he wasn't going to be a great teammate, but he's just handled it in such a way that you can tell everybody knows that you recover from these. Just how do you recover from them? And I think he'll be just recover really well, and he's going to still make an impact. But with our team defensively, we need this stretch of games before we hit conference play so that we can figure out what our identity is going to be defensively with the change in lineups and with different personnel. And I do think we'll have to look at things differently on both sides of the basketball with him out, because he was put so much pressure on the rim by the way he would attack the basket in transition and by the way he would cut on the offensive end. And then he was a threat to make threes. So he had such a physical presence on the court, and we need these games to figure out how we can add that physicality with whoever is going to get those opportunities, and figure out who gives us the best chance with those opportunities.
How does this team face the adversity that it's come with these practices that have come since Devin's injury, and what's the energy like in practice so far? Well,
to Cambridge's credit, our energy has been fantastic, and part of it is because he runs his mouth the whole practice, and that's what I love about him. He just is still engaged, and that he's always trying to help us win. And so I think the energy in practice has been fantastic, large in part because of Devin's charisma. But how do we practice every day? These guys have practiced really hard, and they've been open to being coached and challenged, and that's going to have to stay that way through this stretch. Like a lot of times during this time of year, you can kind of find that rhythm where maybe you practice shorter. It feels like we need to practice actually a little longer and spend more time getting guys prepared and getting extra work in. And with finals being over shortly, I do think we've got a good stretch where we can spend more time in practice to get it right.
And where do you feel this team is right now mentally as you get prepared for this big stretch of games before Big 12? Mental is the most important part of this game. How does this team seem to be right now?
Ultimately, this team, I think Joe Toussaint's will to win and his heart of like coming every day ready to practice hard really sets the tone for this team. And so I think everybody's responded with that, in addition to how Devon's handled the setback. And I think everybody's moving forward in a way that, hey, our goals are still our goals to win championships and to put ourselves in the best chance to play in the NCAA tournament and make a run.
Coach, I guess you've kind of talked about it a little bit, but how far away defensively or offensively are those three young forwards and what do you need to see from them to, I guess, trust them moving forward?
I think the biggest area, and this is where it's been difficult, is their game experience. We're just limited in that, especially within this program. And that's where Devon had such a huge advantage, because he'd had so many years of experience that he could rely on. And so we're trying to speed that up by having additional opportunities in practice to get them more reps. And where we may have had reps with them, I mean, I think that's where we're going to have to see it happen first, is in practice, right? I mean, like, you can't go like, hey, it's going to work out in the game. It's not how it works. You have to do it every day. And I think we've seen more consistency, and we've put more emphasis on those components in practice so that we can see who can do it during games.
You guys played Devon at the de facto 5 about 20% of the time. Do you see Darion possibly moving into that role in a smaller lineup there?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think Darion's been a utility guy all the way through. I mean, you could play him at the point just because of his feel for the game and his ability to handle the basketball. If you see some of our transition stuff, he does bring it up some. For us, in those lineups that we've had that have been good where we've went small, I could see Darion playing some with 4 guards in addition, just for the switchability purpose of it. It's definitely something that's on the table. I don't see us going to it early, but definitely something late in games that we could have as a part of what we're doing.
And you kind of mentioned this after the fact when we didn't know what Devon's status was, but you said the energy kind of would ebb and flow with Warren out there and just kind of that sustainability. But it was kind of after that injury where you guys had that monster run, push it to like 40. Is that what you need from Warren on a more consistent basis?
Definitely. And Warren loves this team, and Warren loves Devon Cambridge. They're close, right? And I think he feels a sense of responsibility that he's got to be what this team needs, especially knowing what we're up against and not having Devon play. So Warren's been great in practice. He's had his 5 best practices over the last week going into Devon, and then unfortunately getting injured, and then after Devon's been, he's had his best practices since we've been here. So that gives me a lot of hope to know that Warren understands the responsibility he has for this team.
Apologize, looking ahead another game, but what benefit is playing Vanderbilt on Saturday back in the Metroplex? And I guess just your thoughts on that team. Again, I don't know if we'll be in the post game tomorrow, so if there's going to be another availability. So apologize in advance for looking ahead.
Yeah, no, understand the question, obviously, because of timing. But, I mean, I think the biggest part for us is we want to have quality opponents that stretch us. That's where Oral Roberts is such a tremendous opportunity, because they have a winning culture. And I think to be in Big 12 play and to play games in neutral sites and to play games where you're going to be challenged every time you step out on the court. And, I mean, this Oral Roberts team took A&M, to your point, K-State, beat a great Tulsa team, and I've been in the same league with Coach Conkle, who's at Tulsa, and that's a rivalry game, and they won that game. We understand that we need to play great teams to prepare us, and we needed to be stretched with this group, and this group will, I think, benefit more from playing against teams like Oral Roberts and neutral games like Vanderbilt that put us in a tough situation, and we've got to play our best in order to win, and excited about those opportunities.